And it is live, Glassy, correct. Sorry about the late start. It was a little bit of last minute preparation. We've had the first few laps coming round, and we've got Andrew crossing a line on board here, and he's 4 tenths off Giraffe. I'll try and catch you up as quick as possible, as I've been a bit late. Who have we got next crossing the line? We'll see if we can find Colin, see what time he's on. He's coming to the last corner now. Gets it nice and tight in there. Beautiful exit, puts the power down. And this will be the benchmark 1:19.3. What a time from Colin. So, early runners, 1:19.3 from Colin. Backer with a 1:20.0. That's more like it. He's needed some results, and he's got his arch rivals behind in the Mercedes. We've seen the Astons and Mercedes make a lot of contact this season so far. Jetfish and Al, 3rd and 4th, all separated by 2 tenths in 2nd to 4th there. As we see Brian, or KVKFC, also on a low 1:20, so it's all really tight up there. Colin's got 7 tenths on them. A nice little lap from Westy, 1:21.1. He's usually in 1st division, and he's managed to reserve for tonight, so we'll see how he gets on. Let's see what action we got. So we got Higgsy, who's coming in after invalidating. Brandon must have invalidated, so he is the 2nd place driver in the championship at the moment. We've got Luke Collins, teammate, on a flying lap here. He's getting a nice tow here. What looks to be, is that a McLaren? No, it's his teammate in a Ferrari, so Collins giving him a tow. So nice teamwork from the Ferraris. Let's see what Luke can do. Can he get himself right up there? And a 1:20.6, so it's very, very tight in that midfield pack with Colin out ahead of the rest. I'll try and fill you in on some information now. Sorry, I'm all a bit flustered after starting late. We have, just to keep you updated with the championship, usually we've got Spritzy doing his amazing animations, but tonight it's just me and a pretty poor level stream. So, in the championship we have Brandon in 1st place on 296 points, closely followed by Colin, only 15 points off him now, and Jetfish and Al in the Mercedes, in 3rd and 4th, and then Higgsy in the Aston Martin. So that rounds out the top 5, and we'll have a quick look at the constructors as well, where we have McLaren winning the constructors, 384 points, followed by Mercedes on 357, and a Ferrari on 343. So just 30 points separating the top 3 teams, so it could get really tasty towards the end of the season. See, Mr. Becker says good evening. Good evening, Mr. Becker. Great lap there. Hoping for some more of that. Yeah, apparently Phil's very excited about Fretwell. Well, let's see if Fretty can get himself up from 10th higher up the grid here, and then he'll have something really to celebrate about. So we're just in that stage of qualifying now where most people have done their first lap. We're just waiting for people to get back out on that out lap, maybe make some setup changes, and get back going on their 2nd flying lap. I think Giraffe's going to be the first to go by the look of it, and we'll ride on board with him, and he's doing very well up in 6th at the moment. And also following on, him and Entity and the Williams had a very good result last week, so let's see if they can keep up their form. And I think he was getting a bit of a toe off Entity there. Gets it tucked in. We've got Huss in the chat saying he wants Aston to go well tonight. Yeah, well, it's Becker's got off to a good start. Higgsy's still got to put a lap in, but Higgsy's been very consistent this season, so hopefully they'll both have a good race tonight. As he comes into the DRS zone, and he might get a tow from his teammate again by the looks of this. Yeah, they're playing a team game at the moment. And Zabiaka also supporting Aston at the moment. So they'll be happy to see Bakker all the way up in second. And look at that toe again. Williams working this really nicely. Glassy saying fingers crossed for Westy and Brandon, get some coordination going. Yeah, absolutely. I know Westy had a great race last night with a podium, two podiums back to back now for him. Sabiaka, thank you. I lost my voice a little bit, so glad you're enjoying it. And Cosmo saying Bakker should be driving, not checking YouTube. I do think he was in the pits when he was checking YouTube, and I did miss it. Giraffe with a 1:19.9. He's got some serious pace, and Williams is starting to really find some form in the last few weeks. So it's going to be even more interesting for the constructors because Aston are a little bit adrift off the top three. So let's see if they can make a battle with Aston. Higsy goes up into fifth, so Zabiaka and Huss will be really happy with that one. And let's see if we've got a Mercedes out on track. Not that I can see. Collins on an outlap, but he's not very far into it. Have we got Luke anywhere? Yeah, so Luke's letting people go, and there go the Williams team working. Let's see what Entity does, because he's been getting the tow from his teammate this time. And what lap time can he do? He looked like he had a bit, didn't quite get that last corner right, but still going to be quick. 1:20.3, and that shows how close it is between these guys. Just 3 tenths between, exactly 3 tenths between Entity and Bakker in 3rd and 9th. Let's see, we'll have Colin coming up to his flying lap. Let's see if he can move this benchmark and watch the master at work on a lap. He's at a very slow out lap, 4 minutes and 30 seconds to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. Let's hope he's got those tyres nice and warm. Yellow flag ahead. He's down at this point. He's so confident on curves. Watch out for that Red Bull. Oh, and he's invalidated. And here comes Brandon, and that is correct. Brandon, exactly a 120 flat. And KRC in the Alfa Romeo 1:19.9. It is all to play for. Because we're going to have at least, I imagine, another run. Some people will already be on a run now, and then one more run before the end of qualifying. And it is so tight. We've got, well, from 4th down to 17th, all on a 120. So incredibly close. And we've got from 4th down to 9th. All within 1/10 of each other, so it is going to be so close. And Colin obviously didn't manage to get his lap time down, so he is the benchmark 6 tenths ahead, but I think it's all changed behind him tonight, so this could be really exciting. Let's see who we've got on a flying lap. Luke looks to back out. I think we must have Al on a flying lap now. He'll be disappointed with temps so far. He's a 10th down in this sector. Takes a lot of curb there, gets it turned in nicely. And they'll be hoping to go up because Jetfish and Al have been used to being pretty consistently in the top 5 all season. Yeah, I can understand that, Brandon. You don't want to go faster. That is, I think that's maybe the first time I've seen an absolute dead flat before. And what can Al do here? He's coming through sector 3. He'll be hoping to get into the top 5 here. Being, I think, was it 3rd in the championship? I might have got that wrong again. And he comes across the line, and 120.017, so he does improve. Brandon having the dead flat times helped him by 100th of a second, basically. And is he now giving a... I thought he might be giving Jetfish a toe, but Jetfish is a bit too far back. We'll watch Jetfish anyway, see if he can improve. Yes, we got Jetfish third in the championship, so Al will be hoping to close the gap on his teammate a little bit, but he's had a few incidents last few races. I think Jetfish has pulled out of that. It seems to be going a bit slow. Let's see what Higgsy can do. Can he move that Aston Martin up higher and make Zabiaka and Huss very happy? Well, I think this is his flying lap coming up now. Heavy on the brakes. Get that curb. Lovely. Great drive out of the corner. Zabiaka, everyone going straight on in the curb. I think because of the low downforce here, what we are seeing is a lot of people giving toes to their teammates. So I think there's a lot of team play going on. We saw Ferrari probably the first to do it with Luke and Colin. Merck looked like they tried it, but they didn't really, a bit too far back. But Williams have done it really well with Giraffe sitting up in third. But I think it's going to make a difference because the times are so close at the moment. Higgsy just 1,000th up through the first two sectors. Can he get anything at Parabolica to change that? Richie, who is the guy in second? The guy in second, well, you know as much as me at this point. His name's KRC81 and he's done a cracking lap. That's all I know so far. Right, and we've got, what a time that is from Quinn. Improving half a second on his previous lap, and he's put himself up into second. And that's kind of come out of nowhere. Brilliant lap from Quinn. So we've got a few people on an out lap. We've got Bakker, who I know there's a few people interested in, especially after he put in he was up in second earlier. He seems to be backing out. We've got Entity, who also improves, 3 temps, so he's on a 120.0 now. It is absolutely mental, Glassy. It is so tight with these times. And it shows that why people are trying to do the toe with their teammate, because it just makes that little bit of difference. Who have we got on an out lap? So Higgsy's invalidated at that point. So we've got Bakker on a lap here. And we'll go on board with him, see how he can do. Richie hoping for a double podium for Ferrari in the home race. Yeah, I mean, Quinn, Luke's brother, has got it up into second, so if it had been Luke, that would have been looking very nice for it, but what a lap that was from Quinn. We got Bakker, so he's slightly up in the first sector, very slightly. Gets it nice and smooth. Oh, gets a lot of curb on the exit there. It looked a bit shaky. Now it's swing it in, get on the power, opens his DRS, and then it's just straight line down to the next corner. He's got the chicane coming up, and you want to carry as much speed through there as you can. It's all about speed out the corners here. Drives it beautifully, very smooth through there. Uses all the runoff he possibly can. I do think he possibly has Colin coming behind him as well, getting a bit of a toe off him. What can he do? Can he move himself back into the top 5? Runs it out wide, and now it's foot down to the line, and 119.8, he's up to 4th. As we see, it's Colin is a bit further back to 119.8, and there's a few in the 19s now. It is getting so tight. I think Colin's going to be hard to beat. We'll maybe see Giraffe's not on a lap. Let's see what Colin can do. If he can move that benchmark any further. And he does by just over a tenth. Now let's see. We got the Alfa Romeos. Oh, and he backs off before the line. What else we got? We got Luke, who's a 10th down in the first sector. He'll be hoping to improve on 9th and get up there to help Colin. And I think Mercedes will be so far disappointed with that. Al he managed to improve, but Jetfish hasn't. I think Jetfish will be on a flying lap as we speak. Oh, and Luke, oh! Very unfortunate from him. It's the curse of the commentator. I know that was happening last week. As Jetfish goes in front of Al, so another lap into the 19s. And these guys are so tight on pace tonight. I think we've got a great race ahead of us. Andrew's also 2 tenths up through the first 2 sectors. What can he do? That could be huge. It could move him up to 9th. Oh, 12th. That is how close it is. 8 thousandths off Luke and only 12 thousandths. 1200ths off Higgsy. It's so tight. And I think we've got a great race coming here because, I mean, Colin's 6 tenths ahead. He is looking imperious around here, but everyone else is so close on pace at the moment. Yeah, Richie's saying Luke's wages will be lighter this weekend. Yeah, might need a new front left tyre and a bit of wing. And just to have a look at that, look how tight that grid is. Behind Colin, we've got, how many is that? 13 drivers within 3 tenths of each other. Absolutely unbelievable. Fretty will be disappointed with being that far off the pace. Rick and Westy, not bad though. It's all very tight. Rick hasn't managed to race much this season. He's reserving at the moment, and Westy from first division. So we'll see how they can get on. If they can keep it clean, anything can happen because it is. I imagine we'll see a lot of tight racing and a lot of battling tonight. Now, as I'm on my own tonight, I could probably do with a bit of help from the chat as well. So if you've got any predictions at all, we know, I think if you've ever watched Premier Division before, when Spritzy asked me about my predictions, it's almost always completely wrong. So if you've got any predictions at all, podium, anything outrageous to happen, put them in the chat and we'll have a little readout of them. And feel free to ask me mine, but they will instantly go wrong. Glassy, how many brake failures into turn 1? I felt like I had a few last night. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty crazy going into turn 1. Because I think if you get quite a good start, because obviously you can pick up really good slipstream, you can end up thinking you can make up a lot more places, but then it narrows so much through that chicane. And often you find 3 cars doesn't go into 1, so yeah, I'm expecting some exciting stuff tonight. Maybe a few incidents. So Richie is saying safety car after turn 1. I think that could be a good shout. Westy DNF first, followed by Rick. All right, Cosmo. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Very specific. I would imagine Westy and Rick will get away with it being at the back. They might be able to take their time a bit more. But you never know, if they hit each other, then you've got it right straight away. So, I'll just get the spectator menu up for you. And we'll check on what tyres we have got. So, interestingly, there are some different strategies. Giraffe is the only one I can see on softs, so he will be looking for a very quick start. We've got Brian on the hards, as well as KRC81, Higgsy, Andrew Entity and Maggot. So Brian could really play himself into that. I know from last night it was meant to be a medium and a hard one-stopper. So Giraffe's on a very different strategy. As you can see, the strategies come up there, perfectly timed. So he's probably going to have to stop twice. We know Colin's awfully good on the tyres, so it would be mediums to hards for them. All dependent, though, on those safety cars. Glassy's saying, surely Colin has to make one mistake. this before the end of the season, maybe tonight. You never know. But what's interesting again is we have the two championship rivals right here next to each other. It's 40 points for a race win, 5-point difference for second, which is 35 points. So with a 15-point gap, if Brandon can finish second again, it means it could still be another 3 races till Colin gets ahead in the championship. So he just needs to keep this consistency up. As the grid starts to form, these guys are quite a fair way ahead of everyone. And we'll put the leader gap on for now. Great quali from Penguin. Absolutely. It was... Well, yeah, Quinn absolutely nailed that lap. It kind of came out of nowhere. We got Entity disqualified from his session. I imagine he's just missed his pit box. See if we can get a good camera angle on this. So here we go. Okay, let's go. So we got a drive through straight off the start. Oh, and what a start from Brandon. And he's flew off the start. And Colin, I don't know, it was probably, I don't want to say anything. Oh! And it's carnage. A Red Bull came and hit Brandon. Colin got away with it. I don't know if Brandon's got any damage there. I can't see anything, but he could have side damage, which would be very disappointing if he does, because he got a cracking start. He's had to go defensive. Colin's having a look around the outside. Brandon parks his car perfectly. Absolute chaos. Well, that was Brian on the hard tyres, struggling to get slowed down. We also had a drive-through for KRC. Oh, I did not see. Brandon has got a penalty. 3 seconds for cutting the corner. I imagine that will be removed because, well, you'd hope so, because he couldn't make that corner. That Red Bull hit him in the side and there was no way he was making the corner. That will be going to steward's office, I would imagine, after the race. And the Mercedes, after having a pretty bog standard qualifying session, 3rd and 4th. What a start from them. And this is where you get nervous, is when you've got an Aston Martin. They have had so many battles on track this year. So we'll see what happens with them. We'll get back on board because Colin is having a look. He's draining that ERS, and so is Brandon. He's going to look to the inside. Brandon's going to stay around the outside. Oh, it's going to be awfully close. And I tell you what, brilliant respect from both drivers there, giving each other space, and this is the racing we want to see. And Jetfish is starting to get very interested in this. And Owl's starting to drop back a bit off that. The gaps at the moment I've got are on the leaders. So if you're thinking, God, those gaps look big, it's just to the leader at this point. And Andrew has left the session, so unfortunately he's disconnected down in 15th. We've got Brian in the pits after getting that damage at the first corner. KRC has served his drive-through down in 17th, hence the big gaps to them. It's a shame for Brian because I don't know what happened to him in the first corner. He qualified so well and put those hards on. It was going to be really interesting to see what he could do. But now Higgsy is the top driver in the hards. And we've got Colin closing up again on Brandon. We'll try and get on board for round 2 of this. And we've got a yellow in sector 3, that seems to be, and that's Rick. We'll just go have a quick look. Yeah, he's just spun round where we saw Luke spin earlier. Get back on board with the leaders. As Brandon sets the fastest lap. In fact, everyone sets the fastest lap. So that's showing you the good pace today. Colin saving that ERS. We saw a bit of this last week at Spa. It becomes a bit of a game. And we got Backer right on the back. I'm going to put this to interval now so we can actually see the gaps. Giraffe trying to get after these guys. Luke dropping back, but that's to be expected because Giraffe's on those soft tyres. And we'll go have a look at Colin, shall we? And Brandon's just doing exactly what he needs to at the moment. Parking that car in the right place. Getting a good exit. And also looking at his looking after his ERS, he's got 15% more than Colin at this point, but Colin's catching into DRS Be careful on those curves. Just keeps it within track limits. And he's going to have a very, very good run at him on this home straight now. I think Brandon's probably still saving a bit of ERS here. But Colin is going to have so much drive out of here, and he's going to use his ERS. He's going to get DRS. The torpedo in the Red Bull, that was Brian, Richie. Yeah, unfortunately for them, it doesn't look like Brandon got damaged. And yeah, look at that speed that Colin got to carry through there. They keep it clean. Jetfish can't quite get involved. Now Brandon needs to stick here with Colin. He's got the ERS advantage, and see if he can stay within his DRS and get dragged round. Still 2.5 temps. Colin gets a little bit better of it at chicane and starts to pull away. I will go and have a look at some other battles, as we've got Fretty and Higgsy very close behind each other, and see what they can do. Because in a minute I feel like I focused purely on those top two. So Fretty seems to be sporting a very nice Italian flag liveried helmet, and look at that pace in a straight line. And Higgsy's going to have to give that one up. He's on the hard tyres, so he's on a different strategy at the moment, as Fretty now is going to chase after Evil Master, which brings me to what start from these two. Up 7 places each, the big winners, Fretty and Evil Master. Brian, the big loser, down 15 after that first turn incident, and KRC unfortunately with a jump start drive through. Now let's get back to tyres so we can see what everyone's on. We've got Backer very close behind Al now. He's starting to really come at him. I don't want to jinx anything, but there has been a lot of collisions between these two so far this season. And just a quick mention, a quick shout out, Westy from 1st Division up into 12th, just 1.5 seconds off Entity. Absolutely flying. Nick is at the Mexican flag. Well, as it's at Italy, I'm going to say Italian, but I can't be bothered to go back to look, basically. I've moved on. And my one excuse for that is the Mexican flag has a little symbol in the middle, so I'm gonna take that one out of it. Oh, as Al gets a bit out of shape there, and Backer's going to have a really good look at him here. Backer's saved on ERS, he's got 30% more. But I think Al is being dragged around by his teammate in the DRS at the moment. We know all season the Mercedes seem to run really low downforce. I mean, they have to here anyway, but they seem to have such good straight line speed. And as you can see, just leaving Backer off the back of that corner. Shack Attack says, come on Mercedes. That includes Harley, of course. I might have missed something there, but yeah, they're doing very well at the moment, Shaq. As Maggot gets past Westy down in 13th, let's see if we can have a look at what Brandon and Colin are up to. It's just starting to have those gaps and a few DRS trains forming at the moment, so we're just waiting on a bit of action. Oh, Pinquin, mate. Okay, I see what you're saying, Shaq. Yeah, well, Quinn's, where is he now? He's down in 13th. It's a shame because he qualified right up there. And Brandon's still sticking with Colin, but they're about even on ERS at the moment. That is going to come down to strategy, because that 3-second penalty in my mind will not stand. But that will be decided after the race in the steward's room. And we've got Backer right on the back of Al, and it looks like Jetfish might have been hurting Al a bit on this lap, and he's going to get a double drag up here. DRS is going to be open, but Al can sit in Jetfish's slipstream. Oh, and it's getting so close, and Backer's done both of them. And he gets it tucked in for the next corner. What an overtake. Gets a bit... Oh, gets a little bit... He's getting tapped there by Jetfish. Oh, be careful. what racing this is. Bakker seems to have got good pace there. Mercedes says he's going to send it down the inside. He does. Bakker sensibly thinks better of it. Oh, and it's so nervous watching these battles. We know how it's gone all season. I think Jetfish could have just backed out of it when he was hitting Bakker from behind. No Bakker at the moment, but... Oh, and Rick retires. There's one for you, Cosmo. And that will be a safety car, I imagine. Where's he retired? No, he's retired in the pits by the looks of it. It won't be a safety car. And Bakker goes through on the inside. What a move! And Jetfish going around the outside to the inside of this corner. And the Mercedes are fighting now, but here comes Giraffe on those soft tyres. And he's going to have a look down the inside into Parabolica. Is he? Or will he wait for DRS? Oh, it's getting so tight here. And now Bakker's just got to try and stretch his legs and get away from this. Yeah, and look at his speed. So the Williams is going to get overtaken almost instantly. Is Bakker sitting duck? No, he's got the gap. And the Mercedes go past quite comfortably there. Struggles to get it stopped in time. I mean, you go into that corner so quick. Oh, what's happened there? Oh, that's Rick's car. God, that was a bit worrying. Whilst this has been happening, Luke has managed to come back at Giraffe a little bit there, and I think we could start to see this bunching up a little bit. For those watching Freddie, he's up to 9th. He's sticking with Evil Master. He's gapped Higgsy by 2.5 seconds, and he's slowly working his way up. And we'll go back on with this battle. I am keeping an eye, don't you worry, about the front two, half a second from each other. And what's happened here? Giraffe! He's off! He's facing backwards. Can he get turned back on? He's going to have to wait till after the Alpine comes around this corner. Oh, what a shame for him. He's been having such a good race. Brian will be hoping there's a safety car there. And Branton and Colin. Colin's not getting that gap as much as I thought. I thought he might have got out of DRS, but obviously there's, it's there's a lot of straights on this track. And I guess Brandon's just gaining him back in, losing that bit of time in the middle sectors, and then just managed to sit with him. As Bakker is 5 seconds off the back of this. So we've now just got the Astons now. Luke, I think, had to avoid the spinning Williams. And Evil Master right now on the back of Luke, seeing if he can get himself his first finish of the season. And Fretty's still sticking with this. Let's see how they get on through here. We'll do a bit more of a TV broadcast camera here. It doesn't look like Evil Master's got his DRS open there. No, he didn't have his DRS open. Interesting. Oh, Entity gets a 3-second time penalty. Entity up into 9th. He's made a good recovery. He was down in the back half of the field. So he's now trying to get the points for Williams after Giraffe has come off. Just looking back at the front, we've got... I'm going to stay on board with this for a second. Jetfish pits. We'll just see what tyre he's going to... Well, we'll see what tyre he comes out on. Brandon is not giving it up. It's going to be so tight between these two to the end, and this is what we've wanted to be seeing. The two championship rivals at the moment are giving it everything for this win in Monza. And Bakker has now gapped the Mercedes. He'll be glad to see them in his rearview mirrors after the incidents they've had so far this year. And that puts Evil Master, Luke and Fretty into 5th, 6th and 7th. And so Evil Master's got past Luke, which we missed. I'm missing a lot tonight. I don't want to focus on Luke too much after I cursed him in qualifying and he crashed into the wall. I'm aware that we did that quite a lot last week, and yeah, he seems to be struggling a bit more on his tyres at the moment, Luke, and it looks like Ferretti will be catching him more easily than it is for him to stay with Evil Master at this point in the race. Yeah, it just gets a bit wide there. I think Luke's tyres are struggling maybe a little bit more than the drivers around him at the moment, and we'll get back on board for Backer and Colin about round 10 now of this fight. Also, guys, in chat, if there's any battles you desperately want to see, as it's just me, it's harder to keep up with it. We've got Al going into the pits. The Mercedes are the first to blink. Yeah, if there's any battles you want to see, guys, just let me know, and I'll try and cover as much as possible. It's quite difficult tonight, just being on my own for it, because you can't see or check on everything. Got Westy back up into 12th, only 7 tenths off Andrew, so he's going really well at the moment. Reserving for this race. So the other thing we've got to play out now is strategies. So we've got some people on the 10 lap old hards, they will be going longer, and then the top 6, as you can see, all on 10 lap old mediums, who will have to pit for hards unless there's a safety car. And yeah, you can see Brandon's just staying with Colin in the straights here, and Colin seems to have the better drive out the corners, but because of the nature of this track, he's just able to sit in that DRS and get pulled along each lap and keep it interesting. I'm going to go and have a look at another fight, because we've got Quinn very close behind the Aston Martin of Higgsy, who is also close behind Entity. So we might have a bit of fireworks into turn 1 here. We got Luke right on the back of Evil Master again. Fretty also up there. And look at that drive from Quinn. And he's going to have the Aston Martin way before the corner here. Or I would have thought. That opens the DRS. It's going to be tight. And he's so good on the brakes there, Higgsy. So confident. Gets it turned in. Very nice. But Quinn's going to have the drive, is he? No, Higgsy keeps it together well. So Higgsy and Entity are at this crossover point now where they're hoping these mediums around them are going to drop off soon and they can start to exercise those hard tyres properly. Yeah, and Quinn just racing very sensibly. He knows he's got the pace, but there's no point dive bombing or getting into a mess in the overtaking zones, and he's driving really sensibly at the moment. We might go back on board with his brother in a second, because Fretty is all over the back of Luke here, but this might mean he will lose, well no, he'll remain within DRS. Oh, so tight! And that's really compromised Luke's exit. Oh, it's Fretty pits as well. And we've got Colin pitting. Colin's pitted. Backer's pitted. Brandon stays out, so Brandon needs to do the lap of his life and see if he can overcut Colin here. Colin can undercut. Now will Colin have... Colin's going to have a bit of traffic in the shape of Andrew here. Where will Backer come out? Backer's going to come out. He's going to have a nice little bit of free air there. So Colin is stuck behind Andrew here on the old hards. Sorry guys, I'm struggling to keep up with everything here. There's so much stuff happening on the strategy. So Brandon needs to absolutely fly this lap, and he might be able to get that overcut done. But we know how good Colin is at getting those tyres fired up. So he's still behind. We'll have a look at the gap to the leader. Colin at 23 seconds off. It's coming down. I think Brandon's going to have to pit this lap to respond. Yeah, it's down to 22.6. He's took half a second out of him, and Brandon does pit. So this is going to be really interesting. We'll stay on board with Colin to see if he can jump, well, keep his position, and Brandon doesn't jump in the pit lane, but he's going to have DRS from Andrew here, but maybe a little bit compromised in the braking zones. Quinn at Evil Master pit as well. Brandon's going to come out at least in 4th, and there goes Brandon, but there goes Colin as well, and it hasn't quite worked. Yeah, the undercut looks like it's the best option there, but only just. And I think Brandon would have been hoping that Colin got slowed down a little bit more by Andrew in that lap. And now Brandon really needs to put his head down and get going, because otherwise, if the DRS gets broken with Colin, it could be very hard to catch him up. So we're trying to use Andrew to get back up there. Tabaka came out also ahead of the Mercedes, but they have closed up with the undercut. So that undercut is definitely very, very powerful. So if there's any hard tyre drivers listening in the way Brandon does with an AirPod, maybe it'd be worth pitting a lap earlier than the people you're around. So I'm looking at Higgsy or Maggot. As Al has dropped back, Al's actually dropped back off this battle a little bit, so it's Jetfish who seems to have the pace on the hard tyres for the Mercedes. And this is, well, we've got KRC back in 7th after that drive-through, so what an incredible recovery from him. But it's all going to get mixed up. An Entity goes in the pit, so he is the first to blink on the hard tyres. Colin then goes and sets the fastest lap. Brandon is up because of Andrew pitting, but he's 3 seconds off Colin now. It's hurting that overcut. So he'll be hoping that Maggot and Higgsy stay out a bit longer and slow Colin up, and he can get back within the DRS. So let's have a look at what gaps we've got. I think still we've got Maggot and Higgsy. We'll go on board with this. I imagine this will be cut short because of pitting soon. We can see that Colin and Brandon are closing up to these two guys for the lead so quickly. Yeah, Colin just 1.1 behind now. He just took about half a second out of them in a few corners. So these hards are not at their quickest at the moment. About to be 15 laps old. Will either of them pit? They're both staying out and they're battling for first position on the track. And Higgsy, once again, he's just doing a great race, keeping himself out of trouble. And they're going to try and, I think they're going to try and drag each other around a bit here. But Higgsy, oh no! And Colin has to avoid it. And, oh, you could just see he couldn't get it slowed down. It's so easy to lock up there. He's gone straight into the back of him. And that has pulled the gap down from Brandon, which had been at 3 seconds, to I make that 1.2 to Colin now. But he needs to clear these guys quick, and this is not where he wants to get stuck behind them. He's going to get DRS. Oh, keep it calm. He gets his DRS here. He's on his way. He's 1.8 seconds behind Colin now. He'll get DRS from Maggot here as well, which Colin will not, and he'll just be hoping that'll be enough to get him back into it. But I think Colin seems to really have the pace on these hard tyres at the moment, and what quick reactions he had when that incident happened at turn 1. Here comes Brandon. He'll have this done easily with a DRS. We'll go on board with Maggot now just to see him getting past. Hello GFO Esports, nice for you to drop by. I hope you're enjoying the stream. It's been quite an exciting race so far. Brandon and Colin doing battle at the moment. A lot of tight racing. So now Brandon 1.5 seconds behind Colin. Pretty similar on ERS by the looks of it. It does say Brandon has a penalty. Like I said earlier, I think that will be removed. And let's go look for some close racing, shall we? We got Fretty and Evil Master. They seem to have been together on track all race. Just give a quick look at the penalties here. So it's just 3 seconds for all those drivers. And can they actually do something here? Well, Maggot's been overtaken by Higgsy. And these guys have been doing battle as well for ages now. And KRC, what a recovery drive this is for him, up to 5th. I'm assuming he hasn't stopped yet. Yeah, GFO, it is the usual suspects. These two have been mighty this year, but I'm assuming you missed qualifying. It was incredibly close. We had, was it 15 drivers in the end within 3 tenths of each other? It was brilliant. A few incidents in the race, and it's the gaps have formed, but race pace wise, Colin and Brandon are in a league of their own at the moment this season. Who was I watching before? We've got Entity and Luke. I think Luke has overtaken Entity. We've got Quinn. So Entity's in a sandwich between Luke and his brother Quinn. Had Westy get overtaken by Giraffe. Giraffe, we know, has the pace here today, but unfortunately that spin has cost him dearly and put him really in a position that doesn't show his true pace around this track today. Who else we got? We got still Fretty's dropping back off Evil Master. Evil Master trying to get over to Al, and we'll have to stay with. I think we'll stay with Maggot and Higgsy on these old hard tyres. It seems to be the closest gap, and see how they can get on. And one of them surely is going to have to pit soon. I mean, maybe they're taking it for the soft tyres, try and get a fastest lap, try and be really fast through the field, or hoping for a safety car as well. There was murmurs before the race that there was going to be some rain in the Premier Division chat, but it doesn't seem to look like that at all at the moment. So I don't see that happening. As Entity gets back past Luke and Luke past Entity, we'll get on board for that. And Quinn past. So it's all kicking off here. It's getting tight. And Luke will have a look now. And I must say, I am loving Luke's helmet choice with this new Ferrari livery. It looks absolutely quality. And I don't think they're going to close up enough here. They're going to have to be patient, and it could all. I think they were swapping positions into turn 1, turn 2, so we'll see if that happens again. We'll get on board Luke. He looks like he's got the best seat in the house for this one. Yeah, and look at Quinn. Quinn has been driving so well tonight as KRC finally pits after that 19-lap hard lap stint after this drive through. So he'll be dropping down, and Quinn's been driving beautifully tonight. He's exited the corner, and Entity having a little look. And Luke, is he going to have a look? Keep it together. Nice and respectful. And this is the problem with the DRS. It seems, well, obviously with such long straights, it's much more powerful here than it is at some other shorter circuits. But it just means you get these DRS trains, and that's why we're seeing the gaps tonight. I think that if you check out at that 1 second, that's it, you're off the back of it. As Brian, who we know has had good pace, it was a real shame at that first corner. I'm guessing he locked up. It was, you know, thankfully he didn't take Brandon out of the race. And Maggot, DNF. So we are going to have a safety car, I would imagine, here. Yeah, and he's binned it. And that's a big one, and that's a shame. But that was on 19-lap old hard tyres. So those hard tyres were done. Higgsy is going to just absolutely be loving that. Brandon Pitts. Now this is a bit risky from Brandon, but this is the kind of thing where he's thinking, I might be able to take a race win here onto the soft tyres. Bakker stays out on the hard tyres. Could he regret that as the Mercedes behind him are pitting for the softs? A little bit of a wait for Al, not much on a double stack. So we've got Evil Master up into third. He's looking to get his first points of the season. Fretty up into fourth. it is a sprint on the soft. For some of them, sinful at the moment. It's going to be really interesting. Entity on the mediums. We've got Brandon. So he's going to have to do so much. But he's going to have such a pace advantage. But he's going to have to overtake so many people to get to Colin. But it's a really bold strategy. And I think, you know, we could be looking back at the end of the race and going, it was a great call. But we know Colin has got great pace on those hards. So Jetfish back in 11th, he was in net 3rd. It shows you it's one of those decisions right now that it's really hard to make, and some of these guys might have been expecting more people to pit. I mean, Higgsy, how well did that turn out for him? He's jumped Jetfish, doing his first pit stop straight onto the hards. Smith, yeah, it is a safety car. We had Maggot crash out just where Higgsy's gone through. Sorry, I'm not great with the corners, so I can't even remember what day it is, to be honest. But so corner names are out the window. And Colin and Backer pit, so they're going to the softs. They're clearly worried about what's going on behind. Now, let's get on board with Brandon. Will he come out ahead of Colin? No, he won't. So it actually helped Colin to pit that lap after. Let's go Aston, says Smith. Yeah, well, Backer's been net 3rd for quite a lot of the race here, Smith. And yeah, unfortunately, well, fortunately he's onto the soft tyres, so he's going to be really fast. But some people have decided not to pit under the safety car, so he's got a lot of work to do. Higgsy, who took the hard tyres very far, he was sitting in 4th but had to pit. The safety car helped him massively and he's gone onto soft. It is starting to look more cloudy and more like rain here, so if any rain does come down, you definitely want to be on the soft to get those tyres fired up quickest and get the grip. I assume we will be going racing the next lap round. Right, so still no, I haven't seen if it said the safety car is coming in. We got Fretty and Evil Master, who haven't been separated all race pretty well, right next to each other once again. There's a bit more Aston Martin advertising for you guys who are supporting Aston in the track, looking at that safety car. And it's going to be a 4-lap sprint by the looks of it. 24, 25, 26. Yeah, 4-lap sprint to the end with a mixture of tyres. Some people on mediums, some people on fairly old hards, and some fresh softs in the mix. We've got Colin down in 3rd, his championship rival Brandon in 6th. We've got Backer, who's looking for his best result of the season, who has been sitting net 3rd most of the race. Oh, and I've just seen something interesting at the back here. Giraffe onto Inters. So is that rain coming down or is he taking a risk? I mean, he's at the back. He's had good pace. Might be worth it if it starts coming down heavy. I think it might just be a little bit too close to the end for anything to really happen with that. It's going to have to absolutely chuck it down for that to work. But the safety car, as you can see, is going very slowly here. Evil Master want him to get on with it. And another story here, really. Fretty and Evil Master, just to put this in perspective for you, we'll check it here. Oh, I can see some rain coming down now. Where am I going? Up 14 places each to 1st and 2nd. Obviously, they got a bit of luck with safety car. Yeah, that's right, Smith. It is a good gamble with the fact that they're at the back, and you know it's an easy gamble to make if you're there. And Evil Master, who hasn't finished a race this season, can he keep it in 1st? I mean, he's got a fast charging Colin behind him. It'd be great to see if he can get his first points in proper style, and he's staying so close to that safety car. I'm not even sure if the safety car's in this lap. I haven't seen anything at the top of the screen. Please don't tell me we're going to finish behind safety car. This safety car seems to have been out for absolutely ages now. So it's going to become a 3-lap sprint. And this is going to make it very difficult. And, oh, we got some pitters. We got some pitters. So I think we've got some people moving to the intermediate tyres here. And look at that. Giraffe, just by getting on those tyres. So Higgsy looks like he was serving a penalty. Gets onto the inters. And now this is really interesting. Now we've got old hards, old mediums, fresh softs, and inters. The net top 3 of Backer, Brandon and Colin, or what it has been all race, is really under pressure now because they've got Giraffe, Brian, Jetfish, Higgsy and Al all on intermediates. The track isn't looking wet enough for inters at the moment. Oh, and we got a spinner. Quinn, what's happened? Has he lost some front wing? Oh, he has. Oh, what a shame. And, I mean, I've mentioned it before, we've got an Aston Martin Mercedes sandwich here. We know how that tends to end up in Premier Division. And Evil Master and Fretty, they've took the risk, they're staying out. Track doesn't look too wet from what I'm seeing. Safety car in this lap, can they hang on? But those hards, if it gets wet, are going to be just absolute hell to drive on. Quinn gets a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Brian. I haven't seen that. So, before we get to line, if anyone has predictions, put them in chat now. I'd be interested to see, because I have no idea what is going to happen here over the last 3 laps. And when will Evil Master choose to go? And he's gone now. But Colin wasn't caught sleeping by that. Fretty is going to defend him on the inside. There's no DRS, of course, for the first 2 laps here. Colin goes for it. He gets it done. Oh, it's getting tight. And there goes... Oh, Brandon is having a look at Entity. Brandon gets really good. Yeah, look at those softs. As Backer's dropping back. The Inters could well be the tyres to be on. But we'll get back to the front. We've got Colin right behind Evil Master. He's going to have a look. It's going to get tight. It's going to get tight. And Evil Master back to tire that one a bit. But he is on those old hards. Fretty still there. Brandon needs to get past if he wants any chance. As we see, oh, someone's gone. I think Al has had a spin. And there's all sorts happening back here. Oh, Backer spun. Ah, oh, what a shame. He was having such a great race. I don't want to theorise anything, but I did see Mercedes and Aston Martins next to each other on track, so maybe something happened there. Jetfish right on the back of this. The Inters really coming into their own, and will be increasingly so on the latter laps. We might see someone other than Brandon and Colin win this race, as Brandon is now through on Evil Master. Evil Master using up his ERS. I think Brandon will just park his car where he needs to. Yeah, and it is race on for the lead again. Fretty struggling to get those hard tyres stopped. And Jetfish is the man who looks like he could get that final podium spot. Oh, and Andrew loses it on the throttle. And Backer's coming in for intermediate. Oh, Backer's retired. And what a shame for him. I'll be interested to find out what happened there. And now we got Colin is driving like a man possessed. He's dropped Brandon by 1.5 seconds on these soft tyres in this weather. That is incredible. As Jetfish up into 4th, the intermediates are looking like the tyre And he is flying round at the moment. Those hard tyres struggling at the moment. But there's 1 lap to go after this. Evil Master, could he be on for his first podium in a season? He's got 2 seconds to Jetfish at this point. And he's chasing him down. We'll get back on board with Brandon. And you can see it is treacherous now on those dry tyres. And what we got happening down here? We got Fretty into the pits. And look at this, Higgsy is stuck between 2 Williams on the inters though. And so is Giraffe in front of him. Jetfish up into 3rd. I'm thinking those hards are not... Yeah, it is a treacherous last lap, Glassy, and I think Evil Master is really struggling. You can see he's having to brake so early, gets it turned in. You can see Brian can be so late on those brakes. Brian's going to get a run out of there, and look at that grip. He's straight past him. Al's going to have a look now. He follows him through. It's all kicking off. Jetfish just 2 tenths behind Brandon. Jetfish is through on Brandon. And I mean, he's taking time out of Colin, but it's a little too late. And that will give Colin extra points needed to hold Brandon off in the championship. Can Jetfish do anything in these last 2 corners? Brian is now gaining on Brandon. And it's all kicking off. And look at that. They've just got so much more grip. And Jetfish is coming for it. Colin's got to be so careful on the brakes here. Gets it tucked in. And look at the drive. Look at the drive. And Jetfish is going to take it. Oh, 2,000th of a second. Colin holds him off on the soft in the wet as Brandon comes home in 6th. I think some of that's a 3-second penalty. So that might change. You might see him end up in 4th. But that, I think, will put Colin into the lead of the championship. And wow, what a finish. Colin holds him off. And you could see they had no grip at all. What an inspired decision by the Inter runners. And sorry, I'm struggling to keep up. Very unlucky from Evil Master. A great race from him. Gets a 7th position, first points of the season, so congratulations to him. But you did not want, especially on those hard tyres, you did not want to be on those dry tyres at the end. Jetfish getting about 4 cars in the last lap. So close on Colin. Colin just has enough ERS left to hold him off. And what a race that was. What a way that ended. It was a crazy long safety car and a sprint at the end, and it was really mixed up. It was going to be an interesting safety car anyway, but when it got wet, that just became absolute madness. You got randomness saying absolutely fantastic. It was a great finish. Backer, I can't believe what more I need to do to get a result. Well, you were very unlucky today. You weren't raced very well. It was tough conditions. I don't know exactly what happened with you, but unfortunate. Smith saying what a finish. It was a great finish, and Jetfish's heart rate must be through the roof. Well, yeah, my heart rate was through the roof. It was all kicking off. I thought Colin had lost it to only win by 2,000ths of a second. That is how close it was today. And Brandon, who'd been doing battle with him all race, ended up down in 6th. I think he will get his 3 seconds back, so I think Brandon will be actually in a 4th position after the steward's room because of that first lap incident, which he couldn't do anything about. But there we go. Colin from Jetfish, from Al, double podium for the Mercedes. Brian recovers after the first lap incident, and he was at the back all race into 4th. That may well still change. Giraffe also recovers after that. Just it shows how important it is to time those strategies. And what else have we got here? And then we had a DNF from Rick, Maggot and Westy. Cosmo close with his prediction. Backer retired with 3 laps to go. Very unfortunate. Fretty, those hard tyres, didn't fancy it at the end. And a really mixed up race. Can't quite believe what happened in the last laps. But thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. I won't do any interviews tonight as I'm out of breath and I need a drink after that. But I hope you enjoyed the race. We will be back next week, same time, same country, in fact, because we're at Imola for round 10 of Premier Division, and we will go and see these guys do battle again. Hopefully we'll get as close a battle and as crazy a ending as we did today. Just a quick mention, Brian, fastest lap of the race, so he'll get extra points too. Thanks everyone who tuned in. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you next week.